Hey guys, I am really excited. I'm sure you can tell by the name of the video that the ATF has approved my Form 4. I got my tax stamp for the Gemtech Blackside 45 suppressor. This is pretty much how it comes in the box. You also have a manual. Before we go ahead and shoot and play with it, I just want to give you a couple of specs. This one is for the 45 ACP. It's also available for guns in 40. The length is 7.6 inches. It is 1.37 ounces in diameter. The weight is 10 ounces, so it's going to add a little bit of weight to the gun. And the mount type, the mount is the black part, is called a linear inertial decoupler, or LID as Gemtech calls it. It's also called a Nielsen device in case you want to look up exactly how it works. But basically what the LID does is that it allows the gun to properly cycle with the weight of the suppressor added to the end of the barrel. It's made of high tensile aluminum and stainless steel. The threading is 0.578 with 28 twists per inch, and there's a couple of other threadings available for different kinds of guns. This one is specifically for the FNP-45 tactical. The finish, which is normally matte black anodized, you can see that, well, this one's not. I had it processed with Cerakote. I'm sure you've heard of Duracoat, but Cerakote, I did a little bit of research, and basically it's ceramic based as opposed to epoxy, which is what like Duracoat is, and it's applied with an airbrush and then oven cured. And the manufacturer, which is NIC or Nick Industries, claims that in blind side-by-side testing done by an independent company, and they did it for the military, Cerakote outperformed competitors like Duracoat and KG Guncoat by a wide margin in durability, wear, corrosion, flexibility tests. So that's what I went with. Plus there's also the cool factor that's involved, because basically it went from this to this. And I kind of wanted to match the color as best I could, but didn't quite make it to the flat dark earth that this pistol is. So I'm just going to go ahead and thread it on here so you can see what it looks like. Forgive me, I'm standing at a funky angle, so it's hard to thread. There we go. Okay. And yes, the gun is empty. I just put it back together, so there's nothing in it. I'm not going to take the time to show you, but there, that's what it looks like. A lot of people ask what the time frame is to get these things approved. Well, I can tell you this, that the dealer did not have it in stock, so they had to send a Form 1 to Gemtech at the time I ordered it, which was on October 17th of 2010. Almost 30 days to the day, they got their the suppressor from Gemtech. At that point, I filled out the Form 4. That was on November 16th, 2010, and ATF approved the form. I found this out by calling them on December 30th, 2010, which is 44 days from the time it was sent. And then the dealer received the suppressor on January 13th of 2011. So the wait time to get the Form 4 was 59 days. The total wait time, including ordering it from Gemtech to get to the dealer, was 89 days, or 12.7 weeks for those of you that are OCD like I am with numbers. So anyway, this is here it is on the gun. I'm gonna just take it off before we go to the range, because I have one last thing that I just need to do, and you guys get to see it. Lock that comes with it, bye-bye. And the suppressor is going into its home. Let me just tell you this. I'm going to shoot it dry, and I'm going to shoot it wet. And these cans are designed to be shot wet. What does that mean? That means that there's a thing called an artificial environment inside the can. That it could be water, oil, grease, or something else. And what the liquid does is that it cools down the heat of the gases much more rapidly, making it quieter. Now, water is the most effective ablative or artificial environment, but Gemtech says don't use that because when it mixes with the leftovers from the burnt gunpowder, it will actually corrode the aluminum. Water also will leak out of it. When I first got this, it was packed with grease, and I needed to take it to the range and shoot it a bunch of times to get the grease out because the artificial environment does burn off. I will tell you that grease created a huge smoke screen, which is cool, I guess, if you're trying to hide, but it smells, it's dirty, and what I'm going to use is wire pulling gel. And that's what you're going to see used when I compare it from wet and dry. Anyway, let's go to the range and let's shoot and see what happens, and we'll come back and wrap this up. Well, I just got back from the range, and I have to say that this is probably the dirtiest my gun has ever been. I'm guessing it's because of the artificial environment, the wire pulling gel that I used. That must be it. At any rate, it's going to be interesting cleaning this. I also noticed as I downloaded the videos that the sound was not really very representative of how loud it was. Unfortunately, the camera's microphone just doesn't do it justice. Unsuppressed is not nearly as loud on the video as it is in real life, and it doesn't really pick up what I'd have to say is a substantial difference between firing it dry and firing it wet with a suppressor. If I was able to somehow get a sound pressure level meter that was able to measure decibel levels as high as is needed firing it unsuppressed, I would have done that, but the cost makes it prohibitively expensive to buy. So just consider the video kind of a not so real world guide. All right. Anyway, I also did a test of the point of impact. Someone had asked me if using a suppressor changes the POI. And I don't know, I had heard both yes and no, so I figured I'd give it a shot. I shot it 20 yards from bench rest to see what would happen. Now, I rarely shoot handguns from bench rest, if at all, and I was kind of shocked at a couple of things, but here, check it out. Well, the two things I was shocked about, one is that even using bench rest, I'm able to create a flyer, the third shot unsuppressed. And then the second thing, I didn't really expect there to be a difference in the point of impact, but here's the target. My point of aim was here, about half an inch lower than the dot. I didn't want to hit the dot so that you could distinguish where the holes are. But I needed something to aim at. So at 20 yards, the difference, 1.6. Well, let's call it 1.6 inch difference shift in point of impact, which I didn't expect. A little surprising. At any rate, I put 200 rounds through it of Winchester and Remington, both full metal jacket, both 230 grain, and I put some elite ammunition through. This is actually my carry, will be my, if I carry this gun, will be my carry round. That's also 230 grain, and it's plus P plus, they call it. But I also bought some of this stuff. This is cheapo Federal ammo, and the reason I bought it, I wanted some more Remington in particular, but Walmart was, I bought all that they had of the Winchester and the Remington, which was only 100 rounds of each, and there was this stuff, and it was so cheap I was leery of it, but I used it anyway, and sure enough, I was playing around shooting plates at that point, trying to see if this thing was hearing safe, and all of a sudden it wouldn't cycle. Here, check out this little outtake. That's interesting. Very interesting. So that was interesting to me. After untold thousands of rounds through different guns, now I've had failure to feeds and failures to eject from time to time. This is the first round that just it wouldn't cycle, at least with the suppressor. I didn't even bother trying it without the suppressor. I wouldn't use it. Certainly don't stake your life on that. Use a real round that will absolutely cycle it. Stay away from them. All right. Anyway, the pros and cons of this. Well, is it hearing safe? I would say it is. I wouldn't want to spend an entire day at the range shooting without hearing protection. But if you're going to have to stop a bad guy, for example, who's breaking into your home, you will do so, and you will not have ringing in your ears afterwards. That's a wonderful thing. It also reduces the muzzle flash, and it reduces the recoil. And don't forget the cool factor and the intimidation factor. I mean, that's worth something. Are there any drawbacks? Well, sure. I mean, it adds weight. You're certainly not going to be able to carry it concealed with this on there. And don't forget, there's a long wait time for getting your ATF forms approved. I've heard it take 4 months and even longer, even though my experience was just 2 months. And it's also virtually impossible to sell, because if you do try and sell this, the person buying it's still going to have to pay a $200 tax stamp to transfer it to them. So once you buy it, it's probably yours. And it's also expensive, and it's addicting, because I've already ordered my second can for my AR-57 and my AR-15. So it being addicting makes it even more expensive, because you're going to buy more of them. At any rate, overall, I think it's a really cool thing. I mean, just the cool factor alone makes it worthwhile. So I'd say if you can afford it and you have the patience to wait for the ATF, go get it. At any rate, that's the end of part 2 of the 3-part series. The 3rd part is coming soon. That is to see if I can carry this thing using a Raven concealment holster. I guess it's going to probably be a few more weeks before I get it, but until then, happy shooting!